This is the Highly Sensitive Club, episode number 50.
Have you been told you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or too much? Do you have big feelings and deep thoughts you don't always know what to do with? I'm Stephanie Linn, a certified life coach and highly sensitive person. I've helped dozens of highly sensitive clients feel more energized, more confident, and more in control of their high sensitivity. In these episodes, you'll get the information and inspiration to level up your life as a highly sensitive person too. Welcome to the Highly Sensitive Club.
Hello, highly sensitive person, and welcome to this week's episode of the Highly Sensitive Club. I was thinking about the end of the year and what a lot of my clients and my mentees are thinking about at this time. And one of the things that has come up a lot is that December is often a time for reflection. It's a great time to look back on the previous year and figure out what went well, what didn't go well, and what do I want to do differently. Many of my clients are in the process of making big decisions. They're making decisions about their careers, they're making decisions about their values and what they want to focus on moving forward into 2025. And personally, I have some big decisions that I have been making as well. So I wanted to talk to you today about the highly sensitive process of making decisions. I recently covered this last month in episode 45, How to Make Decisions and Move Forward. And as I've been working with my clients and my mentees and really getting into this topic, I wanted to continue the discussion today and get a little bit deeper on what this looks like as a highly sensitive person. Many of us highly sensitive people believe that decisions are commitments, and once we make them, then we have to follow through and we have to take all of these actions. This is one of the myths that I addressed in the previous episode. And for most of us highly sensitive people, and for humans in general, making decisions is actually a process. It's a step at a time in the direction that you want to go, which is why making goals or having a vision or a dream is so important when you're making those decisions. Even if it's a vague decision, even if you're just trying to decide the general direction to go in, that's perfectly okay. We think that a big decision is a one-time deal. We should be able to make it really quickly, and then we should be able to make that change very fast. And oftentimes decisions are a process. They are one step at a time, and you continue to recommit to those decisions over and over, or you decide to go in a different direction as you gain more experience and as you take action. For many of my clients and mentees, some of their decisions and some of my decisions are actually unraveling. It's a process of loosening the hold of old patterns and old habits, and then creating new ones consistently and with effort over time. This doesn't have to be a lot of effort. You don't have to go full force into something 1000% in order to make change. Oftentimes, it's those small daily steps that actually help you make progress. Big decisions are made up of many small decisions along the way. And making those small decisions are actually what builds to those bigger goals and those bigger dreams. It is fall 2024, and my fiance Mark and I have been engaged for a couple of years. We like to take things slow. We've been together for almost 11 years now, and we wanted to be very thoughtful and very intentional about the engagement and about our wedding process. If you've listened to some of my previous podcast episodes, I was in a car crash in August and had to have surgery on my wrist. I now have a fancy little plate in there, and everything turned out for the best. But logistically, we talked about what it would look like for me to get on Mark's insurance because his insurance is much better than mine. We talked through all the logistics to get married at the courthouse or have a very simple ceremony so that we can take care of taxes, we can take care of insurance, and do all of those very practical things together, and then have a more formal, more exciting ceremony in 2025. We've been going back and forth about what we wanted to do, and finally we decided that we were just going to go ahead with the commitment ceremony. So we picked a date, and I decided I wanted it to be November 11th because 1111 is an auspicious beginning number. I just felt like a good number to choose. We were going to get our marriage license. We were going to go through essentially what is a drive-through Chapel O' Love in Columbus, Ohio, and go through the commitment and the legal aspects of getting married, and then have a more exciting celebration next year. So we went through the whole process of planning out when we were going to get the marriage license. You may have realized that 11 is Veterans Day. And so the courthouses are closed because it's a government holiday. So we definitely would have had to go through the drive-through Chapel O' Love in order to get married. We went through the whole process. I had a full day of networking and 2 client sessions and mentor sessions in the evening. So it would have been a full day of working. He had a full day of work as well. And we went through the whole process, decided it. We were set to go. 2 minutes later, I said, babe, I'm really sorry. I know we just made that decision, but I can't do that. He laughed and said, that's totally fine, babe. Why do you say that? And I said, I pictured myself a year from now going through our exciting ceremony, the one that we really want to have, where we celebrate with our friends and our family. And I pictured myself a year from now thinking back on going through the drive-through Chapel O' Love at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning and then working a full day and not even really having enough time in the evening to celebrate getting married. And I know myself well enough to know that I didn't want to have 2 different memories of getting married in my mind. Even if it could have given us some benefits and helped our everyday lives in a practical sense, I didn't want to have those 2 memories competing with each other of the beautiful ceremony that we're planning for next year and then this very practical everyday thing that just didn't feel right for me. I realized that I had to go through the process of actually planning the practical commitment ceremony wedding at the drive-through Chapel O' Love in order to decide that I really didn't want to do it. I had this gut feeling that this was not the right choice for me. However, what this did open up by eliminating that choice, fully going down that road, exploring it, planning it as though it were going to happen, deciding that we didn't want to do it that way or that I didn't feel comfortable doing it that way, it opened up possibilities for what we really want to do next year. So in addition to 1111 being an auspicious number, 1 is also repeating ones. You may have noticed that this podcast launched on 1/11 in 2024 because it's an auspicious beginning to start a new project or a new endeavor. So I didn't realize that there was another repeating one at the other end of the year, and it's November 1st. As it turns out, that's also the halfway mark between our 2 birthdays. And in 2025, it's a Saturday. So we can really take our time, we can celebrate the way we want to, and all of our loved ones can come in and have plenty of time over the weekend to celebrate with us. It all worked out perfectly, but I had to know that I didn't want to do it one way in order to do it another way. Here are a few other examples. One of my clients has been working on her life purpose and doing an exercise that might sound a little bit morbid, but can really create a lot of clarity for you. She is in retirement, figuring out what she wants to focus on now. She's been doing Swedish death cleaning. We have organized together previously so that she could get her house in order. And she decided that she wanted to try an obituary exercise. Some people do not like to explore what happens after they die, but if you do your own obituary, this really opens up what do you want to leave behind as your legacy in this life. She was actually really curious and open about it and has been working on her obit and her life purpose over the last couple of months. And what she discovered recently is that family is a huge, huge value for her. And it's something that showed up in both her life purpose exercise and in her obituary exercise. She loves making family a huge priority in her life, and that is her immediate family, her kids and grandkids. It's her extended family, cousins and brothers and sisters, and it's also her family or her friend family, the people who are close to her that she has had in her life for a long time that she makes time for. Doing the life purpose and the obituary exercise have been months-long processes for her. And oftentimes when you do exercises like this that really get under the surface and go to that deeper level, you probably will have multiple iterations of this. You will have multiple drafts that change over time. The first one is usually the most difficult one because you've never done it before, it's unfamiliar, and you're learning a new skill or you're learning to look at your life in a different way. You're learning to make decisions from a different perspective than you've previously made them. So that first draft is oftentimes a little bit scary and a little bit challenging. But once you have that first decision, that first draft, that first version of the direction you're going in, then you can start to edit it along the way. You can start to refine. You can start to look at the process and figure out what part of this is working and what part of this is not working, particularly after you've taken action. I love that this client took her time to really think about her life purpose and her obituary exercise and to explore these exercises over a few months in order to really hone in on what's important to her. And already she's showing up differently to family holidays. She's showing up differently to conversations with her loved ones because she's so clear on her life purpose. She continues to refine it over time. This is magical business. I also have two other clients who are working on making career changes. One of them is moving from a full-time employed job to becoming self-employed and being a solopreneur. And the other is moving from a gig worker and looking into grad school or a career move. With both of these clients, we're exploring a different step in the decision-making process. We're going through what are the fears that we need to address in order to take this next action step. What are the next steps that you need to take? What is really holding you back? That can be a really interesting thing to unearth and become aware of as you're making decisions. If you have a lot of resistance to making a decision and you're not entirely sure what it's about, explore it a little bit more. Maybe you need to define what certain keywords mean for you. This is a clarifying skill that I use as a coach and that I teach to my mentees. If something feels bad or wrong or right or good, what exactly do those what exactly do those words mean to you? Does that mean that they are exciting? Does it mean that you're happy about them? Does it mean that you feel guilty about them? Does it feel like you're letting someone down? Get a little bit clearer about those blocks and what's happening for you. Are you worried about other people's judgments? That might be something really interesting to explore. So with both of these clients who are exploring occupational changes, whether that's going from employed to self-employed or self-employed to employed as a potential option, each step along the way is part of this decision, part of making this area of their life more clear, more intentional, and more satisfying. And of course, I cannot forget one of my favorite clients who has an ongoing to-do list about a mile long. I love this because I resonate with this, and I bet you resonate with that as well, highly sensitive person. The to-do list is ever growing. We always add more things to it, and sometimes it can feel like we are never going to be done. This particular client decided that she was going to do a first pass to-do list, just a brain dump to get everything out, thought download onto the paper so she could complete her entire list. Then, as she went through it again, she decided to refine it a little bit. This was draft 2. She decided, what are the things that are really urgent and that are important for me to do in the next week? What are the things that are nice to have that I can do later? By doing that second draft, she was able to get done everything on her list that was urgent for the following week and to set the other things aside for later. Then, when she came back to the things that she had set aside, this is draft 3, she was able to figure out, can I delegate some of these to someone? Do I need to hire help, or do I need to hire a service for this? Or are these things that I really want to continue to do, or are these things that are simply not working for me? By going through that drafting process, she was able to prioritize her to-do list in a much more functional fashion. She was able to get the urgent things done and to figure out how to move forward with the things that felt a little bit bigger or a little bit more nebulous. And then on the third draft, she was able to ask for help or to take things off the list entirely. It was a whittling process or an unraveling process of separating things out, sorting them into categories that make sense for her, and then to move forward with those choices. You can do the exact same thing with your decisions and your goals. And you can even check in on those decisions over time and say, would I still choose this? Is this still working for me? Even if it feels like it's in maintenance mode, how can I move forward with this now? Or do I want to pivot and move in a different direction? The short of it is that decisions are a process, especially for us highly sensitive people. We are weighing a lot of different factors in our decisions. We're taking in more information. We're thinking about the people around us and how it's going to affect them. We're thinking about our visions and our dreams and the things that we want in the future. And we're processing through all of those things to make good decisions. Big decisions are a series of small decisions that you make along the way that build up to something bigger in the future. And we think that it's often the other way around, that we need to make the big decision and then the little decisions will fall into place. Whichever one feels easier for you, try to lean into the other one. If you're a big picture thinker, try to take it one small decision at a time and see if you start to make progress. If you tend to get caught in the weeds by taking it one step at a time, try to get in touch with that big picture vision and then connect the two. This is a process over time that you will continue to process in your mind keep re-exploring it, keep thinking about it intentionally, and keep recommitting to those choices or being willing to let them go and pivot into something else. Making a single decision is often the best way to figure out your path forward, and each new step will guide you to the next step along the way. You don't have to have the entire map laid out, but you do have to be able to take one step at a time and keep following your gut, keep following your intuition, keep processing the decisions as you go so that you can make intentional decisions and build the life that you want to build. If you would like help with this, as always, I would love to help you. I do have 3 more slots open for one-on-one coaching clients. So if you are interested in working with someone who can help you make these decisions, sort through the fears, and bring all of that awareness to the surface so that you can process it and work through it and take actions, I would love to help you do that. Go to stephanielinn.com, that's Linn, and book a call. I would love to talk to you about this. And even the call itself will help you gain so much clarity and so much freedom to be able to make choices from there. It's completely free, and I would love, love, love to help you before the end of 2024. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode or watching it on YouTube, and I will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening. If you're ready to take what you learned today to the next level, head over to Stephanie Linn, that's Linn.com, and book a consultation call to get started. I can't wait to see you there, my dear HSP.